Jaden Radwin is a human who hides in plain sight as a simple pet for a powerful alien counselor. Everyone thinks he's just a harmless companion, but Jaden is actually a skilled and deadly secret protector. When a dangerous attack threatens a peace summit, Jaden must show the galaxy that humans are much more than primitive animals. The story is full of tension, surprise, and action, with Jaden fighting not just for survival but for humanity's place among the stars. The tone is intense and dramatic, mixing suspense with sharp humor and emotional moments. The stakes are high. If Jaden fails, innocent lives will be lost and humans will remain underestimated forever. But if he succeeds, everything will change. Jaden Radwin sat quietly, pretending to be the harmless little pet he was supposed to be. Around him, the vast spaceship hummed with the busy sounds of diplomats, servants, and guards. No one paid much attention to him. They thought he was just a simple animal, a human companion to Counselor Zalfir, a powerful alien official. But Jaden knew better. He was far from ordinary. For years, Jaden had played this role perfectly. To the galaxy, humans were seen as primitive creatures, pets, nothing more. But Jaden was trained, prepared for threats no one else could see. Every day, he watched for danger, reading signs invisible to others. His real job was to protect the counselor from harm, even if no one knew it. Underneath his calm exterior hid sharp eyes and a mind always calculating. This morning started like any other. Counselor Zalfir was busy with calls and commands, barely paying attention to Jaden. The alien's tall form moved through the spaceship corridors, wrapped in fine robes that smelled like expensive perfumes. Jaden followed silently, ears alert for anything unusual. His sharp nose caught strange scents in the recycled air, hints of weapons-grade plasma and chemicals that didn't belong. Someone was preparing for trouble. Jaden looked down at his worn exo-suit, battered and covered in scratches. The suit was old, ugly, and unassuming on purpose. It hid powerful weapons and gadgets inside secret compartments. No one would expect a pet to carry enough firepower to destroy a small army. The humans called it the Trojan Terrier package, a deadly surprise hidden in plain sight. The peace summit on Harmony Station was supposed to be calm. Alien delegations from many worlds gathered to talk and negotiate. But Jaden knew better. The arrival of the Cathay fleet, a group of massive warships, and rumors of assassins meant danger was close. His instincts, sharpened on Earth's deadly death world, warned him to stay ready. As they entered the Grand Hall, Jaden noticed other pets, like himself, humans quietly watching, pretending. Their eyes met briefly, sharing a secret understanding. To the others, these humans were harmless animals. But they were something much more. They were spies, warriors, and diplomats in disguise. Suddenly, chaos exploded. A waiter pulled a hidden weapon and attacked. Jaden moved faster than anyone could see. To the crowd, it looked like a seizure, but those who knew human combat would call it a dance of death. He grabbed a serving fork, threw it with deadly precision, and pinned the attacker's arm. He vaulted over tables, tackled the assassin, and disarmed the weapon. His voice cut through the panic as he shouted commands in perfect galactic standard. The room froze. The humans had spoken. The shock on the faces around him was clear. The pet could talk. And fight. And survive. More attackers appeared, descending through broken windows and firing weapons. Jaden fought like a whirlwind, weaving and shooting, protecting the innocent. The once dismissed human pet had become the deadliest guardian in the room. After the battle, security forces arrived, weapons ready to arrest him. But Counselor Zalfir stepped forward, declaring Jaden as his security consultant, his protector. Slowly, the guards lowered their weapons, realizing that this pet was their best hope for peace. Jaden took a deep breath and explained the truth to the gathered aliens. Humans were not simple animals. They came from a planet that tested survival every day. They spoke many languages, studied alien biology, and had long been the galaxy's best spies. The data he showed exposed corrupt deals and secrets that shook the political elite. Faced with the truth and Jaden's fierce determination, the alien leaders agreed to real negotiations. For the first time, humans were seen as equals, not pets. As the meeting ended, Counselor Zalfir thanked Jaden, surprised and humbled. Jaden only smiled, tired but proud. The long con was over. Humanity had revealed its true power, and nothing would ever be the same. The air was thick with tension after the sudden attack. The grand hall's glittering chandeliers flickered as emergency lights bathed the room in harsh red. Delegates shuffled nervously, whispering in many tongues, some casting wary glances at Jaden, the pet, who had just shown the galaxy how deadly humans could be. No one wanted to admit it openly, but the barrier between species had cracked, and it could not be fixed with polite words anymore. Jaden stood in the center of the chaos, hands steady on his weapons as he scanned the crowd. His mind raced through protocols and assessments. Assassins like these never acted alone. There had to be more waiting in the shadows, ready to strike again. And that meant the peace summit was in far greater danger than anyone had guessed. Counselor Zalfir approached cautiously, robes rumpled, his usually proud posture replaced with an uneasy urgency. "Jaden," he said quietly, "we need to secure this station immediately. If the assassins have infiltrated this far, our lives, and the future of the peace talks, are at risk." Jaden nodded. "I agree. But we need allies. The station's security is slow and outdated. I'll need your help convincing them to cooperate fully." He turned to the nearest guard captain. "Get me full access to every security system, all personnel records, and surveillance feeds. We can't afford blind spots." The captain blinked in surprise but obeyed. Within minutes, Jaden was sifting through streams of data, his eyes sharp despite the exhaustion behind them. The sabotage on the life support system had been subtle but effective. Someone had tampered with the filters to release mild toxins. It was meant to dull the delegates, weaken their minds before the attack. Whoever planned this knew their prey well. Jaden's thoughts turned to the mysterious maintenance worker he'd seen earlier, someone clearly out of place, wearing the wrong uniform and moving with too much confidence. That figure was a key player in this conspiracy, an insider who had smuggled weapons into the station and coordinated the strike. He tapped his communicator. "Zalfir, we need to find that maintenance worker. Anyone who fits the description, track their movements. No one leaves this station without a full scan." Meanwhile, whispers spread through the delegations. The revelation that humans were anything but primitive pets stunned many. Some diplomats looked at Jaden with newfound respect, others with fear. A few openly scoffed, clinging to old prejudices. But the truth was undeniable: humans were cunning, resilient, and deadly when pushed. Jaden's eyes met those of Ambassador Craigetta, who had once treated him like a curiosity. Now her gaze was cautious, wary. The little six-legged lizard she carried, the same creature Jaden had defended, twitched nervously. Jaden felt a pang of sympathy for the ambassador. Behind her polished facade, she was trapped by the games and politics of the galaxy, like everyone else. Suddenly, a sharp alert came through Jaden's comm: multiple hostiles detected in Sector C, near the communications hub, the station's security AI announced. "Unauthorized weapons discharge reported." Jaden's pulse quickened. That was the heart of the station's nerve center. If the attackers cut communications, the summit would collapse into chaos. Worse, calls for reinforcements could be blocked. "We have to move," Jaden said, drawing his weapons and signaling for Zalfir to follow. Together, they rushed through narrow corridors, moving silently past stunned security teams and frightened civilians. Jaden's suit adapted to the low lighting, his sensors sharpening every shadow. The hum of the station's power systems filled his ears, mingled with distant alarms and muffled screams. As they approached the communications hub, a group of armed mercenaries burst from a side passage. Jaden reacted instantly. With a blur of motion, he tackled one attacker, twisting the disruptor weapon from his grasp. His fingers found pressure points with deadly precision, and the man collapsed, unconscious. 2 more mercenaries fired plasma pistols. Jaden rolled behind a bulkhead, returning fire with calm, measured shots that took down both before they could reload. Zalfir ducked behind cover, wide-eyed. "You move like a ghost, Jaden. Like you were born for this." Jaden allowed himself a brief grin but didn't relax. "I had a rough childhood. Earth isn't kind." They pushed forward, clearing the corridor until they reached the communications room. The heavy doors were locked, but Jaden's fingers worked quickly, bypassing the security panel. Inside, the control consoles flickered with emergency power. Jaden took the lead, plugging into the system and racing to override the sabotage. His mind moved faster than the machine, restoring damaged circuits and reactivating the station's external links. Suddenly, a cold voice spoke over the loudspeakers. "Impressive, human. But this station will be ours soon. You can't stop what's coming." Jaden's blood ran cold. The voice was distorted, but the accent was familiar. It was Kadim Warisk, the ruthless mercenary leader who had sent the assassins. He was here, inside the station, coordinating the attack. "We're close, Jaden," Zalfir whispered. "Can you shut down the network?" Jaden's hands flew over the controls. "I'll do better. I'll trap their signals and send a full alert to every ship in the system. They won't know what hit them." Outside, the first of the Cathay warships shifted position, preparing for battle. The Peace Summit had become a battlefield. Jaden allowed himself a breath. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, he felt the tide turning. No longer a pet or a pawn, he was the guardian of a fragile hope, a chance to prove that humans deserved a place among the stars, not as pets, but as equals. The station's corridors were alive with tension. Sirens blared, red lights flashing in the low ceilings, and the distant boom of docking clamps echoed like war drums. Jaden moved with purpose, flanked by a squad of alien security officers who had finally accepted him as their leader. No longer the overlooked pet, he was now a commander in the chaos. Counselor Zalfir struggled to keep pace. His long robe snagged on piping, his face showed a mixture of fear and awe. "Jaden," he gasped, "how do you do this? How do you fight like you belong in this?" Jaden's grim smile was tired but steady. "Born on Earth. It's not a playground. It's a death world. We learned fast. Every day was a fight for survival." Ahead, the station's central control room flickered with alerts. The saboteurs had done more damage than expected. Systems were failing, life support dropping, security cameras going dark, weapon turrets offline. The attackers weren't just striking the delegates, they wanted to cripple the station completely. Jaden stopped by a viewport and looked out. The Cathay Armada loomed, dark and threatening, ships bigger than entire cities, glowing weapons ready. The galaxy's most feared fleet had come not for peace, but for war. "General Frock," a gruff voice crackled over Jaden's comm, "you have eyes on Kadim Warisk. He's holed up near the primary reactor core, holding hostages." Jaden's blood ran cold. Kadim was the worst kind of mercenary, brutal, clever, and unrelenting. "Send me coordinates," Jaden said, loading plasma rifles and checking ammo. "Coordinates sent," the voice replied. Jaden turned to Zalfir. "You ready?" The counselor nodded, though his hands trembled. "Lead the way." They raced through the station's twisting corridors, passing injured diplomats and panicked crew. The air tasted thick with dust and fear. Jaden's senses were on edge, every shadow a possible threat. Suddenly, a blast rocked the hallway ahead. A section of ceiling collapsed, blocking their path. Jaden didn't hesitate. He activated his exosuit's boosters, leaping over the rubble in a single bound. Zalfir struggled to follow but managed to crawl under debris. Ahead, voices shouted orders, Kadim's mercenaries. Jaden signaled his team to flank, weapons ready. The first attacker spotted them, firing a burst of plasma bolts. Jaden dove behind a console, returning fire with precision that downed the shooter instantly. The battle was brutal and fast. Jaden fought with a mix of military skill and raw instinct, moving like a storm. He disarmed enemies with fluid strikes and took down others with his rifle's energy blasts. Zalfier stayed close, clutching a stun baton given by security. He was out of his element but determined to help. As they closed in on the reactor core, Jaden spotted the hostages, terrified diplomats bound and guarded by armed men. Kadim Warisk stood nearby, smirking, his 4 arms wielding twin disruptor pistols. "So, the little pet shows his teeth," Kadim sneered. "You've caused me a lot of trouble, human. But this station will fall." Jaden stepped forward, voice low and steady. "Not today." The fight was brutal. Kadim was fast and deadly, his weapons firing in a deadly rhythm. But Jaden was faster, weaving through attacks, using the environment to his advantage. He grabbed a loose cable, swung it to knock one of Kadim's pistols away. The mercenary growled in frustration, rushing forward. Jaden caught his wrist and twisted, forcing Kadim to drop his weapons. Then, with a precise strike to nerve clusters, he knocked Kadim unconscious. With the threat neutralized, Jaden freed the hostages. Relief washed over their faces, but there was no time to rest. "Security systems are still down," Jaden said grimly. "We need to restore life support and defenses before more attackers arrive." Zalfier nodded, newfound respect in his eyes. "Lead on." Together, they worked through the night. Jaden's knowledge of technology and tactics saved the station from collapse. Slowly, power returned to vital systems, and the alarms quieted. By dawn, the peace summit was back on track. The delegations gathered, shaken but alive. Jaden stood beside Zalfier, no longer a pet but a hero. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary, a human who had defied every expectation, shattered stereotypes, and fought to protect peace with courage and skill. But beyond the cheers and relief, Jaden knew this was just the beginning. The war for humanity's place among the stars had only just begun. The station's atmosphere changed after the attack. Where once there was fear and distrust, now there was cautious curiosity. Delegates whispered about the human who had saved them all, Jaden Radwin. No longer a simple pet, he was a symbol of something greater, a challenge to the galaxy's assumptions. Jaden felt their eyes on him as he moved through the halls. Some stared openly, others tried to hide their fascination or fear. Counselor Zalfier walked beside him, quieter than usual, clearly still processing everything. "You changed things," Zalfier admitted quietly. "You changed how they see us all." Jaden shrugged, but there was pride beneath the calm. "We've always been more than pets. We just had to survive long enough to prove it." Their task was far from over. The peace summit was fragile, and enemies still lurked. Jaden had intelligence reports showing that many powerful houses had been undermining peace talks to keep control over trade routes and resources. Some didn't want humans recognized as equals, others feared what humanity's rise might mean. A message came in, a coded transmission from Earth's intelligence network. "Phase 3 is ready," the voice said. "The galaxy will never underestimate humans again." Jaden smiled grimly. "Then let's finish this." They convened a secret meeting with trusted delegates who wanted peace. Jaden presented evidence from his data pad, leaked contracts, bribery records, and plots exposed by their covert operatives. The room grew silent as the weight of truth settled. "This changes everything," one ambassador whispered. "If humans are this capable, we must rethink our alliances." But not everyone welcomed the change. A faction of diplomats whispered of rebellion, of erasing humanity's influence by force. Jaden knew the path ahead would be dangerous. But he was ready. As negotiations began, Jaden took on a new role, ambassador and protector. His knowledge of human tenacity and alien politics made him an unlikely but effective diplomat. Yet, threats continued. Late one night, an explosion rocked the lower decks. A sabotage attempt targeted the station's power core. Jaden rushed to the scene, finding a team of mercenaries trying to plant explosives. With calm precision, he disarmed the bombs, then confronted the attackers. "This station is protected," he warned. "If you want a war, you'll have one." His words carried the weight of warning. The attackers retreated, but the message was clear: enemies would not give up easily. Amid the turmoil, Jaden found moments of connection. He met other humans in the station, covert agents disguised as servants and aides, all working toward the same goal. Their shared experience forged bonds deeper than friendship. One evening, as Jaden repaired his damaged suit, a voice called softly. "You did good," said a woman's voice. It was Maeve, a fellow human operative. "We're not just survivors anymore. We're changers." Jaden nodded. "Yeah. Time to rewrite the stars." As days passed, the summit moved toward a fragile peace agreement. The alien leaders, once suspicious and dismissive, began to respect the humans' resilience and cleverness. Jaden's presence reminded everyone that survival wasn't just about strength, but about understanding and daring to speak out. But just as hope blossomed, intelligence reports warned of a shadowy figure emerging from the galaxy's underworld, a new threat that might undo all they had fought for. Jaden's eyes darkened. The war to protect humanity's place had only just begun. The final hours of the peace summit arrived with a fragile calm. The Grand Hall, once the scene of chaos and bloodshed, now buzzed with uneasy hope. Delegates from countless worlds gathered to sign accords that could reshape the galaxy's future. Yet beneath the surface, tension simmered, and danger still lurked. Jaden Radwin stood near Counselor Zalfir, scanning the room with eyes that missed nothing. Though the mercenary threat had been pushed back, intelligence had revealed a new player in the shadows, a mysterious figure pulling strings behind the scenes, intent on sabotaging the fragile peace for their own gain. The whispers reached Jaden's ears: political factions, rogue corporations, and shadowy mercenaries were all converging in a dangerous web of deceit. The galaxy's balance was more delicate than ever. Suddenly, alarms blared. The station shook violently. An explosion rocked the outer hull. Attackers had breached the docking bay. Without hesitation, Jaden sprang into action. His years of training took over as he moved through corridors like a phantom. Security teams scrambled, but panic was spreading. Through the chaos, Jaden found himself face to face with the mastermind, a shadowy figure cloaked in dark armor, voice distorted but unmistakably familiar. It was Kadim Warisk, returned with reinforcements and a deadly plan to seize control. "Did you really think it would end this easily?" Kadim snarled. "Humans are weak, and so is this peace." Jaden's grip tightened on his weapons. "You're wrong. We are survivors. And we fight for more than ourselves." The battle was fierce and personal. Kadim moved with lethal grace, but Jaden fought with the fury of a species that had fought death itself since birth. Their weapons clashed, energy sparks flying, echoing through the station's halls. As they fought, Jaden realized this was more than a battle of strength, it was a battle of wills, of hope against fear. With a final surge, Jaden disarmed Kadim and pinned him down. "This ends now." Kadim glared, defeated but alive, a warning for those who might follow. With the threat quelled, Jaden helped rally the defenders and restore order. The peace accords were signed, this time with genuine commitment. The galaxy had witnessed something new: humans, no longer pets, but partners and protectors. Counselor Zalfir approached, a rare smile breaking across his face. "You have changed us all, Jaden. The galaxy owes you more than words." Jaden shook his head. "No. Humanity has earned its place. We are not pets. We are the future." As the station prepared to depart, news spread across the stars. The human who had been underestimated, the companion who had fought wars in silence, was now a legend. At a quiet bar on the edge of known space, Jaden raised a glass among other humans, agents of change and survival. Outside, stars wheeled endlessly, indifferent yet witness to the small revolution. The lesson was clear: never underestimate a human. Especially not one who has learned to speak.